Today we're going to be doing a fun animation in Procreate Dreams, and I'm going to be taking you by the hand and leading you step by step. So stick around. Okay, we're back, so let's go over to Procreate. I'll show you what I've got all drawn up. So let me look at the layers here. I have this fish right here. So that fish is going to be jumping in from the side of the screen here. That's going to be moving. I have a horizon line right here, which the table's not going to be there, and that piece of fish is not going to be there. So he's going to be diving into the water, and then the water is going to make a splash. We're going to be doing that by frame animation. We're going to draw that as we go. So after the fish goes into the water is going to kind of splash up. It's going to create a circle. That circle is going to turn into a fillet of fish, maybe, or just a fish steak. And that was the one we drew right there. And as the table and everything moves up, the fish piece is going to kind of come into existence and drop down on the plate, and that is going to be the animation. So let's get started on that. We're going to bring all of these files over into Procreate Dreams. If you are interested in getting these assets, they will be over on my Patreon page. I will put a link to that on the screen right now, and go check it out and see if that interests you. Okay, so now let's move on over to Procreate Dreams. Okay, so here we are. To start a new file, you click on the plus in the top right corner right there. And then here you're able to scroll through all the sizes that you might want. I'm going to stick with widescreen and empty. There we are. That is our stage all ready to go. Now we need to bring in our Procreate files over into Procreate Dreams, and I'll show you the best way that I like to do that. So over back into Procreate, I'm going to go into gallery view. It's just right there. You're going to hold down on it. Don't pick your finger up until you move it around. We're going to get out of Procreate, and we're going to go back into Procreate Dreams, and then we're going to pick our finger up and drop that right in there. So as I usually say, the file that we just imported in and our stage is exactly the same dimensions, and sometimes it might be just a little bit difficult to get it just perfectly without having any white space. So to alleviate that problem, I just grab a corner and upsize it just a tiny bit, and that seems to make it a lot easier for you. Alright, so right now all we have is a picture file. But before we start on our animation, we need to change a few things. So click on the title right there, Dreams 9, and make sure you're on the star or the very top selection right there. So we want to change our frames per second. So just tap on it, and we're going to click on 12, and that's going to be a frame by frame animation. That's what I usually use. I haven't experimented with the other ones yet, so maybe I'll do that someday. But right now, yeah, I just use frame by frame. The next thing we want to do is change the duration of the animation. I can't imagine it being no more than 10 seconds, so I'm going to dial in 10, and then on the 1 minute mark right there, click on it and hit your backspace, and that will take that out. So there we are. We have 12 frames per second, a 10-second animation in 1920 by 1080 widescreen HD. Hit done, and we're all ready to go. Alright, so I'm going to use 3 fingers to swipe out on this timeline. That does not make our animation any longer. It just makes it we're able to see our timeline a little bit better. So the next thing we need to do is we need to change this into something that we can work with. Right now it's just a picture. If I hit play, it doesn't do anything because pictures don't move. So we need to make that happen. So what we're going to do is long press on that, and then we're going to click on the convert layers to tracks, and what that's going to do is going to create a group now, and you can see it says group, and if you click on the little arrow right beside it right there, it'll open up, and now we have all of our layers that we had over in Procreate. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is turn off the table. We don't need it. We don't need the fish fillet there. The only thing we need is the fish in the horizon line right now, and we want that fish to start kind of off the screen maybe, and also maybe rotated. So I'm going to click on a corner right there until you get that little curve line, and then you can kind of rotate it up. And I'm going to move him off of the screen, and then we're going to set an initial keyframe, a move and a move and scale. So if you just click on the little clacker right there and hit move and scale, that will set our initial keyframe that takes the fish. It starts up there off of the stage. All right. The next thing we want to do is we want him to come in, and he's going to kind of rotate as he dives into the water. So we're going to come over a bit. Actually, you know what? We probably want it to sit there without a fish for just a second. So I'm just going to come over maybe half a second, and then that's going to be the waiting time, and then he's going to start to move. So we have an initial one not moved, a second one that's not moved, because if we put one here that started moving, it's going to take it from that one and it's going to move to that one. So we don't want that. We want it just to stay off the screen for a little bit, and then we're going to bring him onto the screen. So we want to maybe right here. All right, and I'm going to bring him on the screen, and I'm going to rotate him also. So maybe right there. Let's see what that looks like. So he's going to come on the screen. So the first thing I want to do is, I noticed it's got easing on. So what easing is it ramps up the speed. So it starts off slow and then it moves faster, and then at the end it slows down. I don't want that. So if you click on this little line here with the keyframes on it and click on set all easings and put it on linear, it will stay the same speed throughout the animation, which is probably what we want. So I'm going to push play again. All right, it's kind of slow. Maybe I'm going to take this keyframe, long press on it, hold down on it, and kind of slide it back to the left a little bit to speed that animation up a bit. There we go. All right, and then we're going to have him come over to here. I'm going to click a move and scale again, and then we're going to have him maybe come to here, and I'm going to have him rotate down a little bit more. All right, so what that looks like. Boom. Okay, that looks good. And then probably we're going to make him go in the water here now. So maybe click on it again, and then we're going to rotate it a little. Nope, that didn't work. The thing about this rotation, if you don't have your finger in the correct position, it's going to not do what you want it to do. It's going to either resize it, or it's going to move it, or something like that. So you have to have your finger in the correct position. And I'm going to go about right there maybe, and then have him come down to here. Let's see. Yeah, that looks perfect actually. All right. And I'm going to come over a little bit more, and then we're going to have him just kind of disappear off the screen. Maybe right there. Okay. And you know what I can do? As he's going into the water, I'm going to have him just kind of fade out. So what we can do is make sure that your clacker is not down here on the keyframe line, but up here on your main artwork. And then we'll click on it again, and we're going to set a filter and opacity. All right, we're going to start with 100, and then we're going to come over, and then we're going to take it down to 0. So he's going to kind of fade out as he goes into the water. Boom, that's good. All right. So that is the first step of our animation. The next thing we want to do is to make that water splash, because that's going to be a key part of our animation. So we're going to do this by drawing it and frame by frame. Probably at first, we can probably move it. So let me see. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and do a drawing. So I'm going to go into drawing mode. And what we need to do is we need to go to that water, and then right when he touches it right there, we are going to edit, and we're going to split this. All right. And then I'm going to take this water on the right side, and I'm going to long press on it, and I'm going to drag it way over here on the other side, because I don't want to get rid of it, because I might need it. But right now I don't want it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into drawing mode, which is that squiggly line right there. Okay. And then we're going to pick this blue color right there, and then the brush, probably I'll use a monoline. We'll take it all the way down to the lowest setting there. All right, and then right here, that first frame, what I want to do is make a little splash, maybe right like that, and then another splash on this side, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is just follow that all the way out to the edge there. I forget sometimes that Procreate Dreams doesn't have that hold it down until it makes a perfect shape like Procreate does. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. So this is not that easy. I think that's good enough because it is going to be kind of moving. So that's the first splash. All right, and then we're going to come over one more frame. All right, and then we're going to make the splash a little bit bigger. All right, so what we're going to do is maybe do this about like that. And we'll do one over here. Like that. And then we're going to take these out again on the sides all the way to the edge. And we can kind of start making a wavy looking now. All right, that's fine. Maybe we'll do a little droplet like that on both sides. So that's good. All right, so next frame. Okay, so we're going to change it up just a little bit more. Just about like that. And then maybe we'll continue this guy over here. Just about like that. And well, that didn't work out. I'm just going to wiggle him till we get to the other side. Okay, that's good. And then our fish is going to be almost disappeared by then. So now we're going to start making this water like start to calm down a bit now. We're going to come over one more frame. All right, our fish is pretty much gone now, so that's good. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wiggle this water all the way across. Just kind of like that. And then we'll just do a few splashes here. Maybe we'll do one like that. And maybe one right here. And we'll do some little drops. About like that. Maybe a couple here. All right, that's good enough. Okay, so we're going to come over one more frame. I'm going to do that wiggly water across, but we're going to pretty much almost be calmed down now, so not much. It's almost gone. And then we're going to make a few splashes up like this. Not much left. We do a little bit, couple them down here. Okay, and then the next one. So again, water's almost calmed down. So kind of flatten that out more and more. And these are going to splash up even higher. Okay, one more, and then the water is almost flat again. Okay, next one. Just going to be getting closer to the water now as they're dropping back down inside. Okay, and the next one is going to be flat except for right there. All right, and the next one's, you know what? We could probably take, I'm going to hit done, and that one that we slid over, I'm going to grab it and bring it back. Hello everyone, I have a small favor to ask. I got a goal of 3,000 subscribers by the end of July, and only you can make that happen. So I appreciate it so much. It costs you nothing, just a little click, and it helps the channel so much. So help me reach that goal of 3,000 subs by the end of July. Only you can make it happen. Thank you. And put it right up against that other one. Okay, let's see what that looks like, that splash. That looks perfect. Look at that. Play. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so that is exactly what we wanted. The next thing we're going to do is this blue line is going to start moving. So what I want to do is I want to set a keyframe about right there. So it's going to stay flat a little bit, and then starting about right here, we're going to hit a move and move and scale. And then we're going to bring it over a bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to shrink that line. Okay, and then over here, we're going to do it again. We're going to shrink it even more. So boom, and then it's going to come in. Okay, now I'm going to split it again right here because I want to start changing up that line a little bit. So what I'm going to do is that last keyframe that we made, we're going to take it up to the top to where it's on the main artwork. We're going to hit edit and split it. And then we're going to take it and we're going to slide it out of the way just in case we might need it again. I don't think we do, but it's better to have it than not have it at all. And anyway, what we can do is we can take it totally off the 10 seconds. So it's completely out of the way. Even if we leave it there, it's not going to show at all. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back into drawing mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that last line right there, and we're going to start curving it up. And then we're going to take it over again, another frame. And then we're going to curve it up even more. And we're going to keep doing that. So if you guys didn't know already, this is what's going to form the fish fillet that's going to drop down onto the plate. So we're going to kind of shrink this up, and we're going to kind of make it come together as a kind of a circle or an oval shape. And I'm going to turn on my fish fillet to see the size of it, because I kind of want my line to be kind of the same size as that fish fillet. And I think I've already messed that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to long press on those last two keyframes that I drew and delete it. All right, so now I can kind of see where that fish fillet is, so we can kind of make it morph into that one. So we're going to go about right here, and now we're going to kind of follow along with that fish fillet now. We're going to come over again, and now we're going to kind of complete that circle a little bit more, that oval. And then one more. Now we're going to go ahead and complete it completely. So we've got the whole shape in, and now we can start drawing in those other pieces of it. Okay, about like that. And you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and start coloring it in. I'm going to choose this light blue color right there, and I'm going to turn it where I can color it better. Maybe make our brush a little bit bigger. Oops. Let me turn off that other fish so it doesn't like get in my way there. So I'm going to start coloring it in here on this side. Just about like that. Alright, and then maybe that pink color too. I'm going to turn the fish back on so I can get this pink color. I'm going to turn it off again, so I can start getting the colors to go in there. So about there, I think is good. Alright, and then we'll go to our next frame. And let me turn our fish on again. So click on that blue outline color. It looks like purple. Let me turn that off again. Let me click this one we used. Okay, next frame. Turn the fish back on. Oh, you know what? I made my brush bigger when I was coloring it. Let me take that back down. I was wondering, why is that so big? Alright, and then we can get this side to almost together, and then we'll have these lines to start to form. And now I want to put those colors in there again. So I'm going to pick this pale blue color, and then we're going to color more of this. So maybe that much more. I think that's good. And don't be sweating like keeping the line weights just perfectly the same. The animation's going to go by so fast that you won't be able to tell anyways. And pick that pink color next. And then we'll bring that pink out to the kind of the same level. We're just going to make it kind of a jagged edge, look like it's filling in. I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, so this will be, oops, let me 3-finger put that back in. Took my glove off and forgot to put it back on, because one thing about Dreams is if you push it somewhere you're not supposed to, it's going to mess everything up. We're going to need our brush a little bit smaller to get those edges right in there, so I'm going to take it all the way down. Maybe right there, and we'll color that part. About like that's good. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, we're going to go out one more keyframe. Let's turn our fish. Actually, no, what we're going to do is go back. Previous keyframe that I can pick that color better. Alright, I'm going to do this circle again. Now it's going to be all the way out. I'm going to turn that fish on so we can have a little reference there. Okay, this part's going to come out about there. Alright, turn my fish back off. I'm going to get these colors. And let's color these guys in. I'm going to make that brush a little bit bigger so it makes it quicker to color this in. Almost to the end there. There we go. And then let me get this pink color. There we go, and we're going to color it out to maybe about right there. I'm going to leave that little bitty piece left. That'll be on the next frame. And we might can swap our original that we drew for this one. We don't have to draw it again. Probably a good idea, actually. There we go. Let's finish this one in. There we go. And then the last one, maybe we'll swap this guy now. So now let's go that one, and then we're going to split our real fish down here. I'm going to turn it on, and it's just going to jump to full now. Alright, so let's kind of look and see what that looks like. I'm going to make the canvas here smaller so we can take a look at it. And then let's go back. So we got our fish coming in, jumping in the water, splash up, and then the line goes smaller, turns into the fish, and that is it. Really good. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to get our table to start moving up into the frame. So hit done and get out of drawing mode. And then we're going to go into our table mode right here. And let me see, when do I want it to start coming in? I think before it's formed, so maybe about right there. So I'm going to click on this table. I want to hit edit and split it. And I'm going to turn it on. All right, I don't want it to start there, so I'm going to, all that table in the beginning that we have turned off, we don't need it at all. Right here we need it. But first we want to do a move and scale. And we're going to take it off of the screen. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to have that guy move up slowly until that fish fillet is formed. So that fish fillet is formed right there. So we're going to click on that. And then we're going to move that table up until that fish is laying on the plate there. All right. All right, guys, and that is going to be the end of our animation. I will leave the final animation as I usually do at the end of the video. Again, if you're interested in getting any of these assets, I will leave the link to my Patreon on the screen right now. Also, we've got a campaign going on right now. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of this month. And only you guys can make that happen, so please tell your friends about it. Tell your mom, tell your father, tell everybody to come and join in on the fun with us in learning how to work Procreate Dreams to fit our needs. And having said that, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And I will see you guys next week for another Procreate or Procreate Dreams tutorial. Take care.